solid thriller uses guns both effectively and not so effectively. Seriously, this is one book that uses one particular gun phenomenally, one of the best uses I've ever seen of this particular gun, easily. But revealing that particular gun gets into spoiler territory. Most of the rest of this tale is a really solid cat and mouse type thriller where danger lurks nearly behind every word and the action is of a sufficiently frenetic pace that fans of masters of balls to the wall action like Matthew Riley and Jeremy Robinson will likely enjoy quite well. From the prologue through the epilogue, danger and intrigue is always right there, and we get several very satisfying action sequences and payoffs throughout. For the pure adrenaline action book it really is quite a fun one. But then we get to the issues where guns aren't used as effectively, and to be fair this is a touch of nitpicking where those less familiar with guns than I am likely wouldn't notice anything wrong at all. But readers anywhere near the level of proficiency with guns that these characters are supposed to have, all private military contractors of some form, many of them former special forces, are known to howl quite loudly about when they see these exact errors. Yes, I'm talking about Spec Ops/PMC type characters referring to magazines as clips. Every damn time. Once, hey, maybe Russo mistyped and simply missed it in editing. Every time? Seems Russo, who clearly thought out and perhaps even researched so much else from a tactical and even practical perspective about so very many of the action sequences here, up to and including specifying several different types of guns in several different situations and using them quite effectively and realistically. Kept referring to magazines as clips. Gah. So yes, this was bad enough from these specific types of characters that I ultimately felt I didn't have a choice but to deduct a star for this reason. I always seek to be both as objective as possible and 100% honest in my reviews, and this was absolutely something that stuck out to me every time it happened. And yes, for me, it took me out of the scene every time. As noted earlier, for someone less familiar with guns, say non-American audiences, or maybe readers in the Northeast or left coast, some of the areas and even the US with the tightest gun regulations and thus far less general public familiarity with guns, hey, this particular thing may not be an issue for those readers. But for anyone even moderately familiar with a gun, yes, this will absolutely be an issue. Another gun-related issue, that only happened a couple of times, to be clear, is suppressors. Yes, Russo used the correct term here, which was great. But he also described them as taking the sound of a gunshot from an M40 sniper rifle down to a bit louder than a pellet gun. No. Just no. The best suppressors currently on the market in 2026 reduce a shot by maybe 40 decibels, and I'm being generous there. They take it from standing beside the action end of a jet engine to standing beside the speakers at a Metallica concert. At best. Which, to be fair, is quite a bit louder than a pellet gun. The way I typically describe it is that it takes the shot from being heard from 5 miles away-ish, to 1 mile away-ish, particularly in the relatively open fields of that particular scene. Yet again though, familiarity with guns. If you only know guns from entertainment and not from some form of actually having fired them, Hollywood in particular is horrendous about the suppressor issue specifically. But you wouldn't know any better as you read this book. But those with more familiarity and experience with guns. Again, this is a significant issue for at least those readers. But again, overall, outside of the magazine versus clip issue and the suppressor issue, this really was a very solidly written, very fun action thriller with balls to the wall action sequences and fairly realistic tactics based on the settings as described, up to and including a few critical mistakes made by both heroes and villains. Truly a fun read that a lot of guys in particular are going to love. Very much recommended.